Next Tuesday marks the 126th anniversary of an event that helped shape the future of Southern Oregon forever.
The driving of the Golden Spike in 1887 capped almost 20 years of back-breaking work to connect Oregon to California by rail. In tonight's Oregon Trails, NewsWatch 12's Ron Brown looks back at that ceremony that united the Pacific Coast with a borrowed Golden Spike.
Snow covers the rails of the Central Oregon and Pacific line at Ashland, where on a cold, damp December 17th, 1887, the dream of many Oregon and California residents became a reality. State and local officials from Portland to San Francisco joined in a driving of a spike made of pure California gold using a solid silver sledgehammer, as what started as the Oregon and California Railroad 20 years before was finally completed.
Because of the snow and the train getting stuck in Tunnel 13, which was already problematic at the time, the ceremony was delayed until after dark. And so we don't have any photos of the actual ceremony because it didn't happen until after sunset.
Just this one, the crowd gathered waiting for an event that was scheduled for 2 in the afternoon. Law says some newspaper accounts placed the crowd at about 2,000 in a town of just 800 people.
The Golden Spike of Ashland was really a national event. You know, not just Ashland, not just the Rogue Valley, but Oregon, the whole Pacific Coast, and the whole nation. And was celebrated in that way. You know, cannons pealed in New Orleans and San Francisco. There were bells ringing, and in Ashland there were cannons booming off of the hillside where the Bomer Theater is now. There were bonfires all over town. Chinese lanterns were lit all over the town. So it was a huge event.
After overnighting in Ashland, the delegation, including Railroad Vice President Charles Crocker, who pushed to get the line over the Siskiyous and into Ashland, and Oregon Governor Sylvester Penoyer, chugged back north for another celebration in Portland.
When they asked him, well, did you leave the Golden Spike there? He flipped open his jacket, and there was the Golden Spike. And he said, you don't think I would have left it there. It's too valuable. It's made of solid, pure California gold.
In fact, this was the Spike's second starring role. The first was back in 1876, when it was used to celebrate the linking of the line between San Francisco and Los Angeles at a little station in the Tehachapi Mountains called Lang Station. All 4 sides are engraved, from September 5th, 1876 on the head, to Last Spike, connecting Los Angeles and San Francisco by rail. The spike is a little over 5 inches long and weighs slightly over 9 ounces. That would make it worth about $11,000 today just for the value of the gold. So now, after nearly 20 years' labor, the railroad was open. It marked the end of most stagecoach travel over the Siskiyous and the opening of Oregon to export and import goods easily from around the country.
In the heyday, we had in Ashland 10 passenger trains a day, plus freight. And because of the railroad here, we were able to create an orchard industry in Ashland and later on in Medford and the rest of the Rogue Valley because we had the railroad to ship the fruit.
It was right near this place 126 years ago where Charles Crocker of the Southern Pacific used the silver hammer to drive the Golden Spike that completed the railroad that united California and Oregon and most of the Pacific Coast to the rest of the country. In Ashland, Ron Brown, NewsWatch 12.
That Golden Spike that united the north-south rails at Ashland in 1887 is in a vault at the California Historical Society Museum on Mission Street in San Francisco. And Victoria Law says she hopes to arrange a visit of that spike in Ashland when a new commemorative marker is placed near the Golden Spike site at 8th and A Streets in Ashland.